Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Johnny Vlogs, the one that we should have had yesterday, but it's here today. Hope you don't mind. As you can see, I've got the headphones on, which means we have a special guest. Can you guys guess who it is? We'll see. But before we do that, of course, as usual, I have to thank my new Patreon supporters. You guys keep me here doing what I love doing, so I appreciate each and every one of you out there. Starting with new Patreon supporter Gregory Shelley with a big pledge. Thank you so much, Gregory. April Lindlom also pledged, as well as Becky Walker and Melina Muller. Thank each and every one of you for contributing and keeping me here doing this. I love it. Okay, so now I talked a few weeks ago about the fact that I would be at CrimeCon, and some of the details around me being there have changed. Originally, I was just planning on going as a regular viewer. What do you call it? Attendee. There we go. As a regular attendee to CrimeCon, I bought my ticket. I got my travel all laid out. But then I had a brain scratcher named Kim Stubik, who said, John, I know you were interested in doing more at CrimeCon. I've reached out to them, and I've got this person that wants to talk to you. So I contacted that person and talked about an idea that I had where we could have some type of presentation from YouTubers that are also into true crime. Now you have a little more of a hint. True crime YouTuber? Let's go ahead and move the screen over to our guest. Here she is.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. This is Danielle Holland, which I've actually just learned because we were talking about this, but she doesn't say her name on her channel a whole lot. And the way it's spelled, I thought it was Danelle. So I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Here to confuse everybody.
Well, Danielle, first of all, really nice to talk to you face to face.
I know, finally, it's about time. I fangirl over you quite frequently. You can ask me, and my 4-year-old daughter who's like, oh, you're talking to John Lorden?
Is that Ray Lynn you're talking about?
She knows who you are. She knows who you are.
Well, hi, Ray Lynn. It's John. Wow, that's awesome. And Danielle, let me first just thank you, because there's been a few times in my YouTube channel where I'll be looking at my subscriber count and I'll see this big little bloop. And I go, what the heck is that? Who did this? And I found out that you were responsible for more than one of those. So thank you so much for helping. I really appreciate that. And I'm just happy that we're finally able to collaborate in some way.
It's about time, but no problem, because I've watched your channel religiously and I just appreciate your work so much, your research. I love the way you have everything on the screen. So I'm always willing to shout out my favorites.
Yeah, thank you. And that's part of what it really makes me feel good to know that other people are doing that same thing. You know, when I got into this space, there was fewer of us that were kind of treating these cases with as much care and respect. And now there's more, and you're certainly in that group. And I know I would also say Kendall Ray's in that group. We did talk to Kendall, tried to get her in on this CrimeCon thing. Unfortunately, she had a booking conflict, but she's very interested in doing it next year. So maybe we will
all wrangle together.
Yeah, maybe we'll all get there together. So what's the big announcement? Essentially, what CrimeCon has agreed to do now is they are giving us a booth. So Danielle and myself will be at the booth, and you guys can, you can come by, take a picture, get an autograph, whatever. I'm planning on having some giveaways.
I do too. I've been brainstorming nonstop. I think we could do some fun things. Yeah,
absolutely. It's really fun to look into and just think of what kind of stuff you can give to people. One of the things I've been thinking about, I don't know, Danielle, tell me what you think. They have these pens, and the top half of the pen is all liquid, and there's a little brain that's floating around in there.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
You think with a brain scratch logo, would you?
I love it. No, I think that's brilliant.
All right.
I'll take one, as long as you reserve one for me.
Absolutely. Tell me what you guys think about it in the comments below, or if you have any other ideas for promotional items. And keep in mind that I'm sure we're going to meet a lot of people that maybe don't know my channel or maybe don't know yours. We want to give them something to remind them to check us out. So that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of promo items like that. But of course, if you're a fan, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll have a giveaway for people that don't know me and maybe a giveaway for people that do. So we're really working on different ideas here. In case you don't know Danielle, I wanted to just ask her some questions. And she agreed to. She's so nice to agree to do that. First of all, you went through kind of what I consider a typical metamorphosis on YouTube. You kind of started doing one thing, and then you kind of rebooted yourself it's almost a year ago now, like in March of 2017.
Yep.
And then the new channel has just like blown up. I mean, it's completely taken off on you, right?
Yes, it's been a crazy ride.
Yeah.
Sure.
So first of all, congratulations. I think right now you're at over 132,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Did you get your YouTube plaque yet for 100?
Not yet. I heard that takes at least a couple of years usually.
Oh, really?
They're really slow about getting it.
Oh, wow. Oh. I was just curious if you had gotten that yet. All right. So do you see a difference in terms of coming from, because family vlogging is kind of what you were doing initially.
Yeah.
I imagine that was the stuff that you liked watching at that time as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I came in too. You know, I liked watching stupid comedy stuff and song spoofs, and that's how I started. And then, you know, I basically transitioned the same channel, but what you did was kind of fired up an old channel that you had. Yes. And you reappropriated it for this new direction.
I sure did.
Do you have a preference between the family vlogging style and the more show-oriented style that you're doing now?
I definitely enjoy what I'm doing now a lot more. Part of the reason why I switched over from family vlogging to this is because I felt like I wanted to start benefiting someone. I was dedicating so much time to something, and I felt like it wasn't just, it wasn't doing much for me, really. I enjoyed it, and I could look back on it. But if I was going to spend that much time doing something, I really wanted to maybe benefit somebody else. And this is something that I went to school for a couple of years. It's something I've always been interested in. So I just kind of jumped on into it, and I have absolutely loved it. I did not know this existed on YouTube. I had no idea. And then one day I was scrolling through when I was thinking about going back to school, and I stumbled across a couple of videos, and I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. People do this on YouTube. This is like my place. Like, this is where I belong. So it's perfect. I love it. I prefer it over the vlogs for sure. Yeah. I love those too for anyone who watches those, but this is definitely like my little place.
Yeah, and you're great at it. And I think that's one of the things that it takes is someone that cares about those stories enough to really dig in.
Absolutely.
And learn as much as possible, and then to relay that with kind of, I always think of it as an open heart, but you're really opening up your sensibilities to those stories and then sharing that with other people. And I can see from your comments, people love your work. They love what you're doing there.
I feel like it's just really, it's not, I feel like a lot of people tend to take the stories and they just kind of spit them back out. And so with my channel, I try to make sure I help people understand and think very differently, ways they might not have thought about it before. And I just feel like the whole communication aspect on YouTube, you can scream things at a camera all you want to, but at the end of the day, the goal with these particular videos is to get the people on the other side of the camera to understand and really think about it and remember it. Or, one day they might be walking down the street and see a missing person.
Yeah.
And if they weren't actually paying attention, actually caring, it might not make a difference. So it's all about, to me, actually having some passion and being able to put that through the camera, which I personally think you do so well. I have a whole bunch of family members that watch you too. So
awesome.
Get on your videos. You can.
So what's your, I think you've kind of touched on it, but I just want to give you another chance. What's your absolute favorite thing about doing these kind of more true crime related stories?
I want to solve things. And I know that the chances of that are probably pretty low just because I don't have access to the things that I might need. But the reason I started kind of getting into true crime to begin with, I took a class in high school where we got these sheets that were almost like puzzles, and it gave you bits of evidence and you had to take the evidence and figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I ended up being a TA for that class, and I would look around the door and be like, excuse me, I know I'm back here, but can I have one of those too? And I love that aspect. I love digging and finding as many things that I can on the internet, things that some people might not have caught. I'm sure you realize that some people watching your channel mm-hmm. will go through one article on page 1 of Google and one article on page 9, and you literally will find one thing that changes everything. And so that's my favorite part, is the research. And piecing everything together in a way that I think media doesn't exactly do.
Yeah. And let me just, as someone that kind of did the same format as you in terms of the frequency, let me just say that the speed that you're going at right now of doing just a few cases a week really lets you absorb that stuff a lot better.
Exactly. I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. And I can tell you because I struggle with it, basically. There's trying to do essentially what is now 3 research jobs, even just bringing on Case Cracked when I'm doing that show every week. It's a whole different thing because the method of research, it speeds you up. Yes. And for some of these cases, those details, you can miss them if you're going too fast.
Exactly. And I've learned that the hard way a few times.
Yeah.
So you've got to, that's the favorite part. I don't know how you manage to do it. I really don't. I say this all the time. I'm like, how does he get so many videos up and you get so much information in them? I love it. I personally think you do a great job.
Well, thank you. And I have to give a shout out to my associate producer, Christy. She really helps me quite a bit, in particular with keeping up on the current events. She literally has news alerts set up for every topic that I talk about, and then she funnels all that information back to me. So
I need one of those.
Yeah. Well, you might be surprised. You might just have to ask. I'm sure there's someone in your audience that would love to be able to help you in that way. And it really does help because she's also a good sounding board for me. You know, just if there's something I'm going through or I'm having trouble with a particular case, I can really be open with her about that. Where, if it's something I don't want to necessarily share with my audience, it's more of a private thought. I can have that with her, so.
That's my husband.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I've got something strange I need to talk to you about real quick.
Yeah. And my wife plays a huge role in all that as well. There's definitely a good balance that you have to find with this stuff, because when you're digging into it, it can start weighing on you a bit, take you away.
I agree with that. Probably out of everything you said, that's what I agree with the most. It can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it could be pretty tough because we're not looking into easy stories here. And especially the way we're looking into them, they're affecting us, essentially.
Exactly. When you're empathetic and you feel it and you're passionate about it, there's really no escaping that, which is a good and a bad thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Balance is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what is your least favorite thing just about this whole YouTube thing in general?
Just about YouTube in general? Or
yeah.
Just something specific? Mean people. And I know that sounds so silly, but I feel like it does tie into the particular channel that I have and that you have. I feel like the hate hurts 10 times more.
Yeah.
You try so hard and you dedicate so much of your time. Not that it's a problem, like I choose to do it and you choose to do it, but when you're putting so much effort and emotion and your heart behind something, especially when it involves someone else's life, I feel like when the hate gets added into that, it can just destroy you. It's really, really tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely concur about that, and I'm sure we'll be sharing some stories with each other when we're hanging out at CrimeCon. Yeah, it's strange because the positive energy overwhelms the hate in terms of the numbers.
Oh, exactly, 100%.
But it could just be one comment.
One comment
that is just dark or unnecessary in some way, and it kind of pulls your attention away from all of the positivity and the other good aspect. And I know you actually talk about it on your channel a bit more than I do. I really try to not feed into the trolls or give them attention for what they're doing. You've been a bit braver about that, I would say, than I have.
I'm very upfront. I'm a very blunt person, and because I know the effort. Sorry, I've got hair all over my face. One second.
That's okay.
I'm just very upfront and blunt and honest, and I know my intentions and I know the work that I put into it. And I don't normally get trolls necessarily, I would say. If it's like a random offhanded comment, I usually don't care. But I do have a lot of people that bring hate to my channel because I don't even know how to word this. They just question my research. They question a lot of information I bring, and it hurts me. And so I'm going to nip it in the bud because I source everything. It's things like that. Usually the trolls, I don't mind them. But if you're going to bring this unnecessary hate before checking your facts first, because clearly I'm a fact checker.
Right.
Part of my job, I will put it out there. And, a lot of people don't necessarily agree with the way that I approach some of the hate. But at the same time, I protect my channel, the people I cover, and I know what I put into it and my intentions, and I will defend that till the end of time.
Yeah. The thing I love is when they're making a comment where they're kind of lashing out at you, but they either didn't watch the whole video because it's something you addressed,
yes,
or they're just or they're just assuming that you have a completely different position than you actually do based on your video, and it's like.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm like, I promise you, if I could be behind an FBI desk and researching some of these things you want me to, I would be. But unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do that right now. I just have my internet.
Right.
That does happen a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more about CrimeCon. Have you been to Nashville before?
I actually haven't. This will be my first time ever even being in Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too.
Never been.
Is there anything you're excited to do or to see out there?
I don't know. I'm just so excited to go and be a part of the experience just in general. Like, I have no idea. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm just excited. Like, I plan on just being there and just putting myself all the way in it. That's
a really good point. And I'm excited about that too, because I've never had this type of opportunity where, like, we're going to be presenting ourselves there and, meeting new people. And yeah, a little scary. At least we'll be there for each other for whatever we're going through. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, I'm sure. I would have to say, on top of that, I'm a huge fan of the show American Pickers, and I guess they have a store out there. So that's the one thing.
I didn't know that. And I
Yeah.
actually love that show. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to get over there at some point. And Christy, my associate producer, is supposed to be coming out too. And we've never met face to face. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with her as well. So
exciting. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anyone speaking or presenting there that you're kind of excited about?
Oh my goodness. Well, obviously Nancy Grace is going to be there. And I feel like I was just kind of excited just because she's so huge. But I don't think there's really anyone in particular. I can't remember his name exactly, but the man behind the idea of the first 48 is going to be there. And I'm actually really excited about that. I don't know if he's going to be having his own time when he's speaking, but I've watched that show for as long as I can remember. So I'm really excited about that. And just in general, I think I'm excited about every podcaster that's going to be there because I watch a lot of podcasts and I think it's amazing what they do. I wish I could do YouTube and a podcast. I'm just excited to network. That's maybe an opportunity to, have some sort of like collab with a podcaster. I don't know. I'm just open for anything and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had people bugging me about doing some type of podcast for a really long time. I don't know how to work it in with everything else that I'm doing right now. But
there's no way. I'd be up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Apparently John Walsh's son, Callahan, is going to be there, and he works with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah. I'd really like to meet him. I've kind of shot him some tweets here and there that he's been receptive to. Payne Lindsay from Up and Vanished.
That is one person that I'm excited. He's apparently doing a documentary or has done a documentary. I was reading up on earlier on Tara Grinstead.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of his big case. And of what you were talking about earlier about actually being able to affect real cases, he is the big success story from 2017 in terms of affecting a case. So
that's amazing. So
yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
Sword and Scale, which I've used them as a source on the show a bunch of times. I really want to meet them. Marissa Jones from The Vanished. I've used her as a source a few times. She does some good work.
Well, she does some really good work. I think True Crime Garage is going to be there as well. From what I've seen, and I always watch their videos on YouTube. So.
Yep, and we've got Tim and Lance from Missing Maura Murray and Crawl Space, and they've actually been talking to me about having me on Crawl Space at some point. So, yeah. I'd like to meet them. And then, of course, Robin Warder from The Trail Went Cold, which is another one that becomes a source on my show every so often. He does some really good work. I guess last year they did have Joshua Zeman and Rachel Mills, who I would really like to see. I hope they show up. So a bunch of good things. But I think I'm kind of like you. it's nice that there's kind of the big people that are going to be there, but I'm much more excited about the podcast
I know.
space.
Space is going to be where I probably spend a lot of my time just talking to people, because they provided a lot of sources for me, especially the Vanished. I didn't know they were going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And we're going to be
real quick when you said that, because I had no idea.
Yeah, and we're going to be square in the middle of it, where our booth is actually in what they consider podcaster row. So, yeah, and basic
talk to people.
Yeah, we will be getting around talking to people for sure. And we might have to arrange our schedules a little bit to do that. We only have to be manning the booth for 8 hours over the whole weekend. Of course, we want to spend as much time there as possible and give people a chance to come up. But there's also people that we want to meet and maybe panels we want to go check in on. So we'll have some type of sign or something at the booth if we've left it, letting you guys know exactly when we're going to come back and when you can expect us to be there. So,
and in that case as well, we'll just be kind of probably walking around in different panels. So another way to come up and say hi if you do go and you watch our channel. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I understand, they're expecting up to about 3,000 people. So this isn't like a giant con like Comic-Con or something where it's going to be hard to find people. It should be pretty easy to find us, even if we're not exactly at the table. So the details on it, if you're interested in coming right now, you can get the pass for the whole weekend for $299, but that's only if you book it before March. After March, it goes up by $50. But then they might have single day passes that go on sale 30 days before the event. So check back on the website if you want to possibly get a single day pass and come and meet Danielle or myself. If you're interested in it, it is all at www.crimecon.com. And I want to give a big thank you to Elise with CrimeCon that has been helping us organize and arrange all of this. So Danielle, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I really appreciate having you here.
I loved it. I've been waiting so long to finally actually talk to you, other than on Twitter.
Yeah, we're pretty good Twitter buds for sure.
Thanks for having me on, though. I really appreciate it. And thank you for thinking of me also when you had all this, oh my goodness, my phone fell, but thank you for thinking of me when you had this opportunity kind of given to you. I think that was really cool.
Absolutely. It was pretty quick and easy for me to decide who I'd want to be there with if there was going to be a YouTuber true crime panel, which might not happen this year, but it might. It's kind of one of those things where their booking is filling in quick, but we might actually have a panel that we conduct. But if not, at least know that if you're going to come to this thing, you'll be able to meet us at some point. And just a quick shout out to your husband, Powell. And we've already said hi to Raylyn, but I'll say it again. And Liam, hope the family's doing awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. They'll be so excited.
All right. Sit tight and I'll be right back with you just as soon as I'm done wrapping up here. All right, everyone. That was Danielle Holland. Thank you so much to everyone that has suggested that we work together, that we do something together. That was definitely an inspiration in putting all of this together. And who knows? She's talking about a podcast. People have been bugging me about a podcast. Who knows? Maybe we'll do some live streaming from the event. I think we've got a bunch of different options to talk about while we're there. If you have any other ideas you want to kick in, throw it in the comment box below. Thanks, everyone. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow on the Lord and Arts channel.